This is a $50 RC FPV car that includes everything that you need to drive an RC car plus have an FPV experience with it. It's something that AMain's gonna be blowing out for Black Friday for only $50. And so we bought a few ourselves to play with them, and it turns out they're pretty dang cool. So we're gonna make a video on it. So let's check it out, have some fun with it, see if we can strap it to other faster RC cars for that FPV experience, and then we'll disassemble one and see how easy it is to use the FPV electronics elsewhere. So on the box, it doesn't give a whole lot of info other than the different colors for our body style, and then on the back side, there are some dimensions here. Okay, so we have a transmitter, and it's actually pretty decent. It's an 8-channel transmitter, and the little foam wheel you have to put on yourself. Got our goggles, and in the goggles is the car. We also have a charge cord, and then in this white pouch, we have 2 antennas for the FPV goggles. We have another charge cord, and then we have another, looks like an audio or video cable to connect the FPV setup to maybe an external monitor. And then lastly, we have instructions. So a couple of cool things about this car is it is micro size. It's 1/64th scale, and it is itty bitty with kind of a comic-like appearance. So it's got these shrunken proportions, bigger tires in the back, and it just kind of has a little bit of a goofy look to it. It's definitely toy grade, and I can see that kind of looking appealing. There are working LED lights on here as well. With a switch on the transmitter, you can turn them on and off, and with the headlights, there's high beams and low beams and off, and there's also an undercarriage light that you can have on and change the different colors. And the car comes with a built-in LiPo battery, and you charge it through a USB-C cable that's included. And then the goggles also come with a built-in battery, and you also charge that with a mini USB, and that cable is also included. Now to get this system going, it's pretty dang easy. Thread on these antennas, charge our batteries, and then give it a drive. The FPV setup has 4 different channels to choose from, so it'll allow you to have 4 different FPV cars driving at the same time, as long as you have each car on a different channel. Now, one thing cool about these cars is that they are standalone RC cars. If you want to just have some tabletop fun, you can drive around without the FPV setup. When you do want the FPV setup, there's this little cap over the sunroof. Pop off the little black sunroof, and then the FPV camera with magnets just snaps into place, and it's keyed in so the camera view is not going to move left or right. It's really secure in there, and that is a really cool little setup. So we're all charged up. We've got a green light on our goggles, and the lights on the car went out. So the car's barely moving, and something is not right. And there is a throttle dual rate knob right here, and it was turned all the way down. So let's turn that up to 100% so we get maximum speed. There we go. And we also have a steering dual rate knob. That's about at 50%, so let's turn that up so we get more steering throw, because it's not turning very tight. Turns pretty sharp. So let's put the camera on there, turn our goggles on, and it automatically connected. So you can see it's working. All right, on your mark, get set, go. So something interesting, while we're wearing our goggles here and racing, the view in the goggles is not glitching. It's nice and clear. But when we watch back the recorded footage that we recorded from the goggles, there is a lot of glitching and interference. This is our conference room. There's a lot of electronics in here, so maybe that had something to do with it.
This is like a demolition derby now. Oh. Dude, that was fun. This car is fast. I don't know if you guys are full throttle.
Yeah.
I'm full throttle and I'm gapping you boys.
Huh.
A lot of fun trying to race them. They don't seem that fast here, but when you're wearing it and driving it, they are a lot faster. So let's try to strap this thing to some other RC cars and see what we can do. So we got a two-wheel drive buggy for our carpet track, and we taped on the FPV car. So out here, the recorded footage off the goggles ended up being even worse than before, and I think it's because the goggles were just too far away from the car. It's a bigger track. We put the goggles in the center of the track, but the footage is just super glitchy and it didn't work out. That is really weird. That is a weird feeling. I felt my body leaning back as I was climbing up. I was wanting to like fall back almost. That is really weird. So we moved the car to the hood and hopefully we'll have a little bit of a better view. I feel like I need to sit down. Man, I don't know what my line is. This is scary. Now with this crawling, you can see we had no issues. The footage looks pretty dang good, and crawling was really challenging in this FPV view. Man, that's tough on your brain. I feel a little bit disoriented doing that, and it's hard to judge kind of where I am, like where the car is and then us standing here in relation. I don't want to hit us, but it is a real wild experience. Just doing those little sprints back and forth, it feels so fast, like I'm going at warp speed. So check out how clear this recorded footage from the goggles ends up being. We're outside, there must be a lot less interference, and the footage is turning out a lot clearer than it was in some of our other examples, even though the car gets pretty far away from us. So that's cool to see. So how's that footage look, guys? Is it rad or, you know? So it may be possible to take the electronics out of the car if you just want to use the FPV setup for some other project. So let's check it out. There's a couple of Phillips screws on the bottom. Let's see. So that's just our skid plate or a belly pan. Front tires. And then the rear motor assembly. So what is that wired up in the front? LEDs maybe? So the board up top looks like it's just glued into the shell, and the camera just snaps in place with magnets. So we need to get this out of there. We could cut it out. So I'm just going to cut around the upper square, see if we can just free it. So I definitely think you could reuse some of these electronics for an FPV setup. You may need to 3D print a housing for it all or figure out a way to organize it, but there is some way where you could salvage this setup just for FPV use only with other RC rigs. That would be pretty rad. So these aren't super fancy FPV cars, but for only $50, they're pretty dang nice. Plus, you get an RC car out of it, which is a lot of fun for just some tabletop racing. So pretty good deal, and I think you guys should go check them out. So check out our links down below if you want more info on these cars, or if you just want more RC videos, check these out.